This video is going to be too damn long, and I'm going to have to break it up into more than one unless I'm careful, especially because I tend to ramble and make things long anyway. So, back when I first moved back to this area, I'm near Louisville, Kentucky, I figured out pretty quickly you kind of have to bank balls. If you're going to live in Louisville, you kind of have to at least know what you're doing, because the bank pool is really big around here. I went almost the first 20 years of my pool playing, career, almost never banked any ball. I always figured you could cut it, and usually I was right. You could cut it. I thought there were too many variables in banks, but when you move to Louisville, you're kind of required to at least know a little bit about it. So that's what I did. Is I kind of threw myself into it and tried to learn how to bank. So, of course, I got books, and there wasn't really any YouTube back then that I can think of. But whatever instruction I could get, they always treated a pool ball like a photon and a cushion like a mirror. And they always had all these ways to calculate banks that assumed that the ball was going to go into the rail and it was going to bounce off the exact same angle, like a photon in a mirror. But this is a pool ball, not a photon. This is a cushion, not a mirror. So what would happen was, I could get this thing lined up, this diamond to this diamond, and if I shoot it soft enough, sometimes I might get lucky and get it to go in. But if I shoot it the way the bank pool players that I've been watching and trying to learn from would shoot, and I shoot at that point, that geometrically correct banking point, it's going to come short. And it's going to come short every day until the end of time. Any geometrically correct banking point is going to come short. 2 diamonds to 1 diamond. So straight at that. It's going to come short until the end of time. And all the instructional stuff that I read basically said, well, tables will usually bank shorter than the geometric point would suggest, so you have to adjust. And there were various mechanisms for how you're supposed to do this adjustment. But I think most of the people writing the instructional stuff didn't know. So they just kind of said, oh, adjust, practice, figure it out, that type of thing. Well, this is what I'm trying to do. I was trying to figure it out. So I decided that the geometric banking point was crap, and I wasn't going to use it anymore. I was going to find something else. That's my kitten making noise. She's not tearing up my house, she's just playing with shit. And so these last few days I've been putting clues up. And they're part of what I figured out, okay? I just happened to luck into some stuff. What I happened to luck into is I was setting up my object balls on this line, the 1 diamond away from here. I was setting up my object balls on this line, and just, again, luck, I was setting up my cue ball on this line. And I was going, okay, so if I bank with the cue ball right here and I hit straight at it, what happens? Oh, okay, so it doesn't go in, it comes short. So I would move the cue ball up. I'm trying to find the spot where the bank goes in. And then the plan was, once I found the spot where the bank would go in, then I would shoot it a bunch of times and make sure that it wasn't just a fluke. Well, this is what I found out, and this is what this clue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I was doing talks about. For an object ball on this line that's going cross corner, and a cue ball on this line, this distance is 2/3 of this distance. Another way of saying that is this distance is 1.5 times this distance. And this is what I was putting up with the stuff. So this distance is 2 diamonds. That means if this distance is 3 diamonds, then this is the line to bank this 14 in at firm speed, not at that pocket speed photon off a mirror crap, but at real speed. And the neat thing about that is it works all the way up through here. If I put this ball on four diamonds up, right? 4 diamonds up. Put the cue ball at 6, because 1.5 times 4 is 6. Then this is the line that I need to be on. So if I hit this right, this one's harder to hit, of course. But if I hit it right, that was a horrible shot, Dave. If I hit it right, emphasis on if, then the ball will go in the hole with pretty good consistency. I thought, well, hell, that's cool as shit. Then, once I had that figured out, I played with it on straight backs and I found that it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. As long as, remember over here, this 3 ball is 1/4 of the table width. If I'm doing a straight back, now this 3 ball is 1/4 of the table length. I'm going to put the cue ball 1/4 up this way. And it's the same math. This is 2 diamonds over. This is 1.5 times 2 or 3 diamonds over. This is my line. Again, harder to hit, but if I hit it right, then the ball can go in the hole. Yay! So now I've figured out cross corners, straight backs, cross sides work the same way. The math is just a little bit different. If I want to shoot this 3 cross side here, I still go 1/4 of this distance. I still go 1/4 of this distance, but I'm only going from the side pocket. So it's 1 diamond distant. I only need to come with 1.5, just like that, and hit this straight, just like the cross side. This is an easy enough shot that it would be really embarrassing to miss, but the same system works. So yay, right? I figured out straight backs and cross corners and cross sides, and go ahead and start getting my trophy ready for Derby. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, because what are the odds of getting the ball on this line, the object ball on this line? Or what are the odds of getting the object ball on this line? Sure, it can happen, but don't want to count on that? And I guess stall in a match until that happens? No, I don't want to do that. So I wanted to come up with something better. What I did is I took these numbers that I had all figured out, and I put them in a spreadsheet. And I took my spreadsheet and I started playing with shit and jumbling shit around and came up with something better. And that's what I want to talk about here, is the something better. Now, the way that I have always, well, I don't want to say have always, the way I used to start trying to figure out my banks was what I believe is called the parallel system. And what that meant was, if I want to bank, let's say this 3 into here, the books would say, find this halfway point between the target pocket and the object ball. I happen to have a dot painted right there. And so hold your cue over that center point and point it at the pocket opposite. And then come over parallel. And then that's your line. So according to the books, if I shoot this, it's going to go in. But in real life, it's going to come short. Because, once again, pull ball, not a photon, cushion, not a mirror. But, because I run all these numbers through the spreadsheet and crap, this is pretty damn cool to me. This is what I figured out. I have a hair on my table. My damn cat's getting on the table. Is that instead of finding this midpoint and doing my calculations based on it, I can get exactly the correct line if I go off this midpoint, or the midpoint between here and here. So it's like this 3 is 2 up and 1 over from the 9. So I go half that here, and then 1/2 way over. If I use this as my midpoint, I come over parallel. Then that is my line, and that's the line that I figured out, whatever that other numbers were showing. To me, this was incredibly cool because I could get any shot, no matter where it was, as long as it's in this wedge, no matter where it is, and I didn't have to worry about is it on this line or anything like that. All I had to do was calculate my bank point based on this center. Get on this center, come over, and there's my line to shoot the shot. I'm shooting this, so I'm putting the cue ball here so it's just a straight shot because English can affect banks. But that's all I'm doing, is doing it. But so that's my line. If I hit it right, come on, and let's put this wherever. It doesn't have to be the same place. But I have to find the midpoint from here to here. Find that midpoint, come over parallel, there's my line, cue ball have you just got right on it. Hopefully you get the picture. I don't want to keep shooting this forever. To me, this was very cool, and it helped me a lot on banks, and I still do it to try to see if a table's playing long or short or whatever. So what I ended up doing is I got to the point where I was missing just enough that I got to thinking that drawing my halfway point line, like off of this point right here, maybe not perfect. Maybe it's really here. Maybe it's really here. This was certainly close enough for government work, as they say. And I forgot. If I'm doing a straight back, I can use the exact same method, except instead of using this as my target pocket, I pretend this is my target pocket. So I got to find the halfway point between the 3 and the 9, not between the 3 and my target pocket. And then parallel over, and there's my line. And if I hit it right, the ball goes in. 1/4 of the distance. Very cool shit, very cool shit. What was I getting at? What I was getting at was, I decided that this very cool shit I was just talking about maybe wasn't as perfect as I wanted it to be. I wanted, well, perfection, I guess, as close to perfection as I could get. So what I ended up doing was going down the table all the way with my cue ball over this first diamond and seeing where do I have to bank. Let me show you this thing my girlfriend made for me, my ex-girlfriend. As soon as I find it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, so she made me this thing out of Legos. And it's exactly 1 diamond in length. And then there's a little caveman dude that can be moved. Yeah, I didn't say this wasn't stupid. But what I did was, I set it up on this diamond, and I would go, let's say 0.3. This maybe makes sense. So I would try to bank this ball straight on a line from this diamond to 0.3 diamond. I would try to do that. The point of the pocket's a little bit in the way for that shot. So we would do 0.4. I just want to see what it was. I want to see what the numbers were for every diamond along the table. So from 1 diamond right here to 0.4, right at my caveman, straight in shot, firm speed, in the hole. And this will happen every time I hit it halfway correctly. Or pretty correctly. Alright, cool, yay. Now I know how to make a bank from here, in theory. So I moved up. just for kicks. I said, well, one diamond is 0.4 diamonds this way. Let's see if two diamonds is 0.8. So 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just find out. I wasn't expecting it to be. But what the heck? We're just trying shit. So we'll go from this diamond to 0.8. Hit it right. Holy shit, ball went in. Maybe that was a fluke. Let's try it again. This diamond to 0.8. Holy shit, happened again. Alright, let's continue with the experiment. What I did is I continued with the experiment all the way out here to 3.2. Why did I pick 3.2? 1, 2, 3.1.2. I picked 3.2 because I was going up here, 8 diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 is kind of right here, right kind of along this line. So if 0.4 held all the way, then this bank, if hit correctly, will go in damn hole. Or if your table's cloth is still fairly new, maybe you have to put a little bit of English on it to adjust it. Maybe. I wouldn't lie to y'all that pool. I really wouldn't. I'm just going straight at my caveman, or trying to go straight at my caveman. Went in. Took me long enough. This was kind of worked out a hell of a lot better than I ever thought it would. That it's 0.4 all the way through. Now I think it's one of Dr. Dave's things. He has a system, this banking system method, 1/3 more than half. And it's something like to bank this 11, this 11, from here into the corner. This is 4 diamonds, so you go 2 diamonds, but then you go 1/3 of the way up. I didn't understand it, and it seemed to me like the math was pretty messed up for something you're trying to do in competition. So I don't do that. What I do is I'll look at, try to find out what's close. If I want to bank the 11 here, I can already tell you what's close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 4 is 24, which is about right there. It's almost straight in for me. So all I have to do is shoot this at 24. It's a little bit of a cut, so there's going to be a little bit of English-induced, or a contact-induced spin on there. We just have to adjust, and the ball goes in. I didn't have to memorize every spot and have it be 0.4 here and 0.5 and 0.73201 here, and then to figure out all this shit. The thing that was unbelievably cool to me was that for me it's 0.4 all the way down table. For me, my stroke, my speed, whatever. The Dr. Dave method, it came out close. It came out really close to the 0.4. I think his came out to like, I want to say like 0.38 or something like that for each diamond. And I haven't looked at that in a year or so, I bet. It was something like that. It was something close, but it wasn't quite exactly on there. And I'm not going to say I'm right, I'm not going to say he's right. What I do think is cool, though, is that there's a way to do it. And now that's at least 2 of us on Earth that have come up with a way to bank a ball at real speed and not be treating it like a photon in a mirror. This is something that needed to be done. And I'm not sure how many more demonstrations that I need to give or can give. I don't need to be doing this halfway point and parallel and over. It's much quicker for me to look at Second diamond goes to 0.8, 0.8 right here. So that shit, the 11's pretty much on that line. So just shoot it down that line and don't scratch, and the ball goes in. Very, very cool. Exact same thing on straight backs. It always seemed like they should be different on straight backs, but you know they're not. Don't know why they're not. They're not. Let's go. I keep getting just about the same line. Let's just go something like this. So 2 diamonds over is going to go at 0.8 this way. So right at my caveman guy, it looked like that was pretty close. Yeah, it's exactly close. Yeah. So if I hit it right, see it right and all that, it all goes in. It's the exact same thing. It's 0.4. For every diamond that you, I guess, widen the bank, if that's a good word, then you come down the other way on that first cushion by 0.4 diamonds. I don't know how much sense any of this made. Sometimes I talk about banks and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but luckily I've gone through this stuff enough in my head that it does make sense to me. If anybody has any questions, of course feel free to ask. I'll do my absolute best to answer as well as I can. So I had the bullshit thing where if your ball happens to be on this line, okay, it's kind of easy. I had the thing of finding, the parallel with the center of the imaginary target pocket and the object ball and paralleling over. For me, paralleling over is a little bit tricky, and I may be wrong 90% of the time. I'm always going to be kind of close, but there's going to be wobble as I move over. And then the third thing is the way that I ended up doing it. I just had to get off my butt and map it out. And I got lucky that it's 0.4 for every diamond. It's 0.4 diamonds. I was not expecting it to be that easy, and I've been kind of kicking myself in the ass quite a bit since I discovered that, because I could have done that shit 15 years ago. And I didn't, and you can't roll back time. At least not yet. There.